हम्म, ओके ओके, ठीक है। हम्म, हम्म, okay, yeah, that's a very good point. Let's understand. I want to give you a model, a framework which can elevate your perspective towards customers, towards stakeholders. For a lack of better word, I may say stakeholders. And this model is called as the CARE model of customer centricity. The CARE model, CARE. Now, there are four aspects, as it says in the CARE model, that can elevate your not only the bond but also the self respect that you must have, and not losing that self respect to any client. Like, of course, they are client, but you are also a subject matter expert. Yes or no? They are client, but you are also an expert into the field, right? So, what this CARE model of customer centricity tells us is whenever there is a conversation, a meeting, a discussion we are having, even in the absence of customer, we have customer focus. There's this saying in Amazon, whenever there's a meeting, crucial meeting that happens, there's one chair which is always empty in that meeting room. Why? Because as a culture, they always believe that the customer is sitting inside the room and listening to the conversation. So they want to include the client into the conversation and consider them as part of the conversation, thereby making more customer centric decisions. So one is customer focus even in the absence of them. Second is active listening. And there are four levels of listening. I've already spoken about it, I think. Level 1 is you're not listening, you're preparing your answer. Majority of time we are into that level of listening, where we are not listening but we are preparing for our own answer कि मैं अब इसको counter कैसे करूँ. Why? Because the mind is already into a fight or a flight mode. You're already into a panic situation. It's already a fight or flight mode. How do I respond? We are not able to think clearly. Why? Because of the fight or flight mode, because of the panic situation. So how do you listen? You listen, not, level 1 is you're not listening, you're preparing your answer. Level 2 is you're listening to the words, but you're not understanding the meaning at all. You're not understanding the context from where the client is speaking. When you go to the level 3 of listening, that's why you understand the meaning. Where is it coming from? Like, where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? And when you understand the root of the surface level problem, then you address the elephant in the room. When you understand the root of the problem. The moment I saw the screen, I saw some of you did not have the energy that ideally I would expect and see inside the training session that I will get into with you guys. And immediately I asked, okay, tell me, what is the emotion? And I could see some of you were not in the right space and energy, and that's why we made some energizer instantly. Right? And if let's say if I go without doing an energizer, what's going to happen? You're not ready with the empty cup to learn. Why? It is already filled with something that is carried forward, maybe from a conversation, at family level, a friend's news, something. Life is happening to all of us. So listening actively does also mean that you're listening to unspoken words. They may not share, but are you able to gauge the frequency, the tone, the energy of the room? And if so, can you ask questions? Can you ask questions? Because question and inquiry is one of the powerful way to fill the gap. Even if it is a, you know, escalation, even if it is a failure, can you inquire? Can you ask questions? If they ask questions, respond. Why there is a panic? Because there's no acceptance of the failure. You accept it, acknowledge it. Yes, we've made mistake. Yes, we've made mistakes. Yes, there is a failure. The more you counter and try and hide, it's going to make it worse. It's going to be like a lot of email. No. If it is a mistake, take a stand as a leader. Accept and acknowledge that yes, there is a failure from my side. I could not do it. Take that heat. As a leader, you should have the courage to take that heat. Atul, you have a question? Huh. Mhm. Hmm. Is it like a first time that you've come across a situation like this? So, what have you done in past? Like, what is the best practice that you follow, especially in such situation? Hmm. Hmm. So, how is the frequency of these scenarios? Like, how frequently does this happen? Like, once a week, once a month, every single day, situation is like this? How is it? Once a quarter. Mhm. So, do you do anything so that it doesn't happen again? Is there like a process that I know the client has said dump the process, but is there a way you can address this with someone who can take decision on situations like these and right? Mm. Got it. Mm. Got it. Got it. See what I see, Atul, you're doing everything right. There's nothing that I can, comment on to, especially in this case. But one thing what I feel can be uh, an improvisation that we can have is the way we communicate and approach this entire situation. Uh, and what do I mean by that is, see, essay or essay, you have to do it. There's no option. He's not giving you an option whether to do it or not, even if it is part of the process or not. But the way you can communicate, especially with in the meeting that you mainly mentioned, uh, might bring in more severity और sincerity to them कि बॉस कुछ तो बड़ा फेलियर हो सकता है अगर हमने इसको अभी काम नहीं किया. You got to make it more urgent, क्योंकि वो once a quarter आ रहा है तो नेक्स्ट टाइम वापस आएगा, वापस से वो अर्जेंसी बनाएगा, वापस से आपको काम करना पड़ेगा स्ट्रेच करके. सो a way in which you can make it like an urgency to address as a situation from those calls, and even into the internal management where you are working with your teams, speak to people that how can we mitigate, because this is kind of costing additional x number of hours, which possibly I don't know how does the billing work and all of that. So from that perspective also you can look at it, because any which ways we're addressing and working on these situations. It's like being on a defensive mode and being onto a mode where clients are different and we are different. I wanted to address it as one team, that hey, I think we are doing this and we will continue to support, but the way I feel we should approach, can I suggest you something? Here are 3-4 things that we feel that we should do so that we don't come across a situation like this and we don't have any failure in future. It's like addressing it as one team and more empathetically to them with a little paused and slowed down tone may kind of create sensitization in there. Absolutely. Yeah. It is natural. Agree. Now, I think you should take a stand in the right forum and also acknowledge the team member for really stepping up every time, that the requirement comes in. बोलो भाई फंडामेंटली कुछ तो आई थिंक यू शुड डिस्कस दिस इंटरनली विद द राइट या विद द राइट पीपल. यू शुड डिस्कस द वे. अगर हम उसको ना ज़्यादा एंटरटेन करने लगे ना राहुल, देन इट बिकम्स अ हैबिट फॉर देम. यू देयर विल बी अ पॉइंट वे यू हैव टू टेक अ स्टैंड विद द राइट अप्रोच, एज आई सेड. Internally, you find an hierarchy to address, like internally as in within qualities. How do you approach situations like this? You should have a conversation around it with right people, as I said. maybe your leaders to whom you reporting, whether they are aware, what are they doing if they are aware, can they do more, like ask questions, inquire, and just keep working on it, because there's no option until it gets resolved. You have to work on the requirement that's coming up. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Mm. 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 See, I'll approach it in a different way, and uh, like I remember when I was working with TCS, JP Morgan, especially TCS was service-oriented organization, right? And for us, we were told कि भाई client ने बोला है मतलब करना ही पड़ेगा. We were told, and we were kind of, especially when I was into a doer mode, when I was single-handedly approaching and processing things, I was told that hey, you have to do it, you have to. And I felt within कि यार ये गलत है, मतलब क्यों, why is it that I have to do always? Once in a while is fine for me, but if you always keep pushing me, I'm going to get uh, burned out, right? So when I became leader, and I used to kind of have conversations with client, because for us client were on the same floor in the TCS itself. So whenever there's a requirement, so then later on, what we did is what Jayesh mentioned here is the resource requirement. For us, we had a billing model which was hourly billing: data simple, data medium, and data complex. And three categories: people who are doing a data simple mode, we used to bill them for simple activities like per hour billing. Data medium, we used to bill them for those categories of activity. Data medium and data complex used to have a different billing. So whenever a new project used to come in, a new requirement used to come in, what we had is we used to do a TMS, which is time and motion study, for how much time would it require for us to execute this extra requirement. And if this is like a 8-10 hours of work, we would take an approval, and for that month's billing we will be charging client extra for those many hours. Now I don't know internally within Qualtrics how does it work, but what I'm meaning here is that uh, see the scope and the stretch and try to find a win-win, because see 99.99% तो आप सारी चीज़ें कर रहे हो, बट कभी एक सिनेरियो पर आपने उनको ना बोल दिया, या आपका थोड़ा सा टोन चेंज हो गया, they will consider that 1.01% and then skew the entire 99.99% effort is there, right? So I don't know how is the overall approach inside the organization. See what is there and inquire and work towards it. Acceptance to some extent is good, but beyond that you will have to find a balance, is what I may finally say, right? क्या हो सकता है, what is the possibility, we are ready to do work, कोई ना नहीं बोलेगा, but then you have the scope and you have to stay within the scope, and there someone has to take a stand. I don't know who that someone is, but within organization you should find who is that someone and what that someone can do for you. Shakti, you want to share something?